Hi, everyone. My name is Justin Paparello. My colleague today with me here is Mitch Palusis, and we both teach in the Technology Education Department at Fox Chapel High. Just as an overview about what our department as a whole does and what we're all about, we are very much your hands-on, tech-related department. In every single one of the classes, students are encouraged to solve problems and design solutions. And in every single course, not only do they build either prototypes or final versions of that, but they will also be able to take things home. And that's a big deal for us in our department, is for students to be able to build their things and own them. The whole department is set up in 5 different areas. So there's graphics, engineering, robotics, electronics, and materials processing. And each one of those courses has an introduction and advanced version of it. And that's developed that way so that students don't necessarily need any knowledge coming in. So all the intro classes have 0 prerequisites. And we take them to a point where they understand a good chunk of the knowledge that has to deal with that curriculum. But if they really enjoy it, and they do like it at the end of the 18 weeks, they are able to go ahead and schedule the advanced class for that course, in which they can get deeper into the knowledge and do some more advanced projects on not necessarily a one-on-one basis, but they can design their own solutions on a more advanced level. So we're going to talk about these couple departments, and I'm going to let Mr. Palusis here talk about the graphics department.
Okay. So our first class we have here is the graphics class, and that is the class that I solely teach for most of the part. And what we do in the graphics class is we give the students the opportunity to see what it would be like to be a graphic designer. We start off with showing the students how to use software such as Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Photoshop, and also Corel Draw as well. And students do some page layout, different creations on the computer, and then we go into the lab area where they can take those creations and turn them into an actual working project, such as a printed T-shirt, a vinyl sign, or something burnt on the laser. So each student will be able to take, like Mr. Paparella said, take a hands-on project home with them. That way, they'll be able to show what they've done with their hands in their classes.
Yeah, and I think Mr. Palusis also touched on an important part. Each one of our classes is generally put together so that there is an academic side and then a lab side. And in each one of those labs, there is some specialized equipment for whatever that knowledge base is. The next course here is the engineering course, and I'm the teacher for that course. What we're doing here is give students a general idea of what it would be like to be an engineer. And what I mean by that is not necessarily the heavy physics and calculus version of that. And there is some math and science in that course, of course. But we also give them the knowledge base that comes from a couple of universities that Fox Chapel sends their kids to. So when we toured the universities of Pitt, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, and then Rochester Institute of Technology, we kind of took some of their knowledge base and asked them, what do you want kids to know if they're coming out of high school? And putting all that together, we designed this course. So students will have the opportunity to use the design process to build unique solutions to problems in the areas of civil, mechanical, architecture, a little bit of chemical, all those engineerings they'll get exposed to. And they'll use these 21st century fabrication tools like CNC machine, laser engraver, vinyl cutter, I'm missing one, they're 3D printers. So they'll be able to use all of those in order to complete those type of projects. The next course I want to touch on real quick is robotics engineering. The teacher in here is Ryan Simoski. And in this course, students are able to build and program their robots. So they'll build something like on your screen. You'll see this like the first very, very low version, beginner version of the 4x4 robot. And not only will they build it, but they'll program it to be autonomous. Then they'll move into some more advanced robot programming and building. This course has a heavy interaction with the Bots IQ program, where students are able to join the club and build a robot that will compete and fight against other robots from the area. And usually we're getting ready for that program right now. We're not entirely sure how that's going to go with COVID, but that has a heavy influence on this class. Also in this class, there are the specialized equipment here is mostly metal equipment. So students have the ability to weld and fabricate using a forge or a foundry. There is a Haas machine, a Haas CNC machine that is dedicated to metal fabrication as well. And the next course I want to talk about is the electronics course. This is everything to do with electricity, so whether it be low voltage or high voltage, and that's the electricity that's in the walls of your house, or breadboarding, soldering, all the circuit theory of digital and analog sensors, whether that's reading resistors or capacitors or transistors. They prototype and code things on not only Arduino microcontrollers, which I have listed on there, but also using Raspberry Pis. And there's a lot of open-end design in here where students are encouraged to program those electronics to complete problems that they have in their lives. And then the last section here is materials processing, and I'm going to turn it over to introduce it.
Okay, again, this is our materials processing class, 2 courses, an intro and advance, and as well, this is one of our big hands-on courses. This is really geared towards a hands-on person. This is something that maybe we would have had in high school that people would have called a woodshop class, but it's kind of bumped up a level where they actually do some of the technical drawings, where they do the prototyping, the product designing, and again, utilizing special equipment such as CNC machines and lasers, and as well making projects that they actually compete with other high schools in the area.
Thanks. So I just want to touch on one quick thing is your students start to make their way through high school. It's not a bad idea for them to have some of these resume builders that help them get into post-secondary education. One of them is definitely BattleBots IQ, where the students are building those robots and working in teams. And the other extracurricular activity that is attached to the Tech Ed department is the TSA Club, Technology Student Association. And in there, students can compete from over 100 events to compete against other schools at large conferences. So the first conference that we go to is our regional competition. Is our local competition. And then the second one is the regional competition that's actually held at Seven Springs. Unfortunately, it was canceled this year, so we're really looking forward to get back into that next year because Fox Chapel has a very big presence there. We often do very well against other schools in these areas, but everything, they can compete in everything there from the CO2 car up to Technology Bowl, where they're actually competing live against other students, to coding, CAD design, architecture design. There's a wealth of different competitions that they can get involved in that are really exciting because you get to put your skills up against skills of kids of the same age at different high schools around the area. And these things are looked well upon as far as resume builders and things like I said when they start to move post-secondary education. Okay. I want to open the floor for some questions. I don't want to talk all the way up until we're done. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and chime in.